And Judith was my probation officer for something that was completely unrelated. And I loved her for 15, 16 months. And we got along because, well, I'm work law enforcement for my job, my trabajo. So that is why me and her matched. But I never told her at all, hey, I'm actually an agent and all that, because I'm not investigating her. It's all separate. I'm just going to her because she's my probation. That's it. And it just so happened I was also law enforcement, so we're getting along. It was not an investigation on the Judith at all. But then Judith started the investigation on the Thomas. But through that, we've told her and told her and told her again, oh, Judith, Thomas is good. Thomas, and they've been clearing me since Judith's like, I'm calling the federal bureau on you and this and that and the other. When I was raiding her office, and I said, no problem, and smiled in her face. Then she calls the bureau and they say, Thomas is clear, Thomas is good. And she just won't stop. And then she tries to shoot me, which is fine now. She didn't hit me. So she say sorry or whatever. She just confused. This is such new thing to people. They don't know. That's why I'm working on this stuff, to let people like Judith, let other law enforcement officers know that no, this is official. This is good to go. This is not a real drug network. Because we had to do that because there was certain it's a certain obligation, I feel like, to do that part of it, because that was my true intention from the get-go. And as I get older, I realize, well, without that, it's sort of, because I made sure to always note it on the paperwork and note it in the system. And but what about the publicity of it? You have the sting publicity where you sting, and the sting operation will sting no matter what. But because those ones that get stung, well, they're not in tune with that other this until they get stung. So it's a big educational lesson to go along with it. They have about 4,000 videos to get educated upon so far. They got the seizure of their money, so they're getting clean or whatever. And actually, a lot of the times, if they're a dependent, uh, uh, well, that we have folks that are um, getting them into their legal means of getting whichever drug that they were desiring. And I don't want to use this one because marijuana, it's legal in certain places, but other places it's not. I believe it's only one country in the entire world so far that's federally actually legalized marijuana. People say, well, it's not the bad drug, but there is that thing. Like Mr. Herrera, it's legal. It's legal in Canada, the smoking marijuana. But he doesn't like smoking in his casa. He don't like smoking in his house, even though it's legal in Canada. But there's some people, sorry, around the world, in their state, maybe like Mr. Herrera, they're moving and taking their money to that state for a reason, because it's completely illegal. You go to prison, you go to, and those places exist for people like Mr. Herrera and many other people. But Canada's legalized, so it's a way less strict like that. So you have to look at yourself, and then you have to. That's why people live in places like Florida, Texas. They don't want to change. A lot of people don't want to change the law there, because it's like you have certain areas for certain things, kind of like you have designated smoking areas. And that's a good, I like that idea because it keeps everything clean and it keeps the economy healthy. Not everyone's a smoker. Not everybody wants smoking stuff around them. Hey, I may make as much money as my counterpartner or whatever, but they're across the world and they don't like smoking at all. They might not smoke in their property at all, but they live in a certain area that designates that, and I do too. And that's the law. So then, yeah, that's how the law went. And then, well, the only thing you can do if you don't like it is put your house up on the market, and then you have to go into an area that maybe you agree with more, or else you're going to deal with that. You're going to smell it when you're going down the park. That is kind of how it is. Canadians were like, okay, we go to the park. Yeah, you might get hit with a whiff of marijuana nowadays. That's sort of how it is in Canada. If you don't want to get hit with a whiff at all, there's no chance of any getting hit with any whiffs. Well, you got to go to places like where you go to prison. If you're even smoking it, you'll go to prison, like Florida and things. Then you have no chance of getting hit with a whiff at all. But there's each side to it. Like, it comes down to the law, not anybody's personal opinion necessarily. It comes down to what the law is written down. It's a system. Kind of like we can all play Battlefield, but if you cheat, you're going to get banned off the game. And it's hard to explain, but there's a certain law and order for everybody to follow, and some people are better at following it than the others. Some people, it's part of the game, so you may say. But it's nothing personal, really. It's just got to do with the LAW. Some people can be people that you might not like, but they follow the LAW or whatever, or on different sides of the spectrum. But it's all got to do with the law being enforced, not any personal opinion being enforced. And what was I going to say about the law? Well, it keeps people safe, from big to small, from strong to weak. The law is a thing that is not a person. It's like an entity thing. And it's a range of values that protect everybody as people. Everybody's got to go to sleep sometime. Nobody can fight all the time for themselves. So that's why we hire the police and whatnot. It's a job in the community. Like, we understand, like, hey, I'm working my job. I got to go to bed at night, and like, I have my gun to protect my home or whatever. But what about the community all around me and the stores and all that, and all that? So we pay the additional taxes and all that to create this job, which is the police, for the community. And then that creates this job, which is the police, which is this whole nother world or whatever, if you're an officer and you work as a police officer in the community. But at the end of the day, it's like community's security. It's the community security. Protect and serve the community. They protect the community and then they serve for the community. And they've done a lot for me. I'd say at this point, to this point, they've done a lot for me. But I've also got slapped on the wrist really hard too. I don't think I'm perfect because I have a criminal record. I'm not a uniformed officer. I wish I was. I wish I had been, but no, unfortunately, I did get charged before. I had to go through court proceedings, and I accepted the plea. It was a great deal to me, and they gave it to me, and they agreed to it, and we went through the whole thing, the whole song and dance, the courtroom meetings, and the final sentencing, and everything. Completed my sentence and learned my lesson to a certain degree, but every day is a lesson to be learned. And even a good person that tries hard, even this guy could get arrested. Hell, my friend Matthew Earls, Charles Francis, who served Afghanistan Marine, he's a veteran and a respectable one at that, who I'd vouch for. He even has been arrested recently for a DUI, which he's learned from big time. Okay. And that's so respectable of him not to fight like he could have. He's got his 2-2. He had a 2-2. He's got his 2-2-3. But no, he got out of his vehicle and it was a thing. And the man made the arrest on him and he went to jail. And I mean, here he is here, Matt, United States Marine. But look, he knew he did something wrong. And he's a respectable a military officer and whatnot. Honorable.